Hey, great game, guys. Great game, thanks. Oh, is there anything better than a hockey workout? I mean, it is the greatest game. Hey everyone, this is Chris Madsen. Perhaps the name rings a bell because I was probably one of the first people to inquire about the Blackhawks TV play-by-play job, and I'd like to make my case. You see, in my last conversation with my father in June of 2001, he remembered how he brought my brother and I to our very first Chicago Blackhawk game. My brother was there in his Bobby Hull jersey, watching Bobby going through the paces in the pregame, skate his head on a swivel, and my dad said, "But you, Chris, you had your Pat Stapleton jersey on, and you were looking in the other direction. You pointed to the broadcast booth where Lloyd Pettit was sitting, and you said, 'Dad, one day, I'm going to call a game from there.'" My life journey took me to Lewis University on a baseball scholarship, academic scholarship, and I took sports broadcasting at Lewis. Happy to say that, proud to say that I was an honor student. But the first assignment we got in sports broadcasting was to do a play-by-play tape. Now all my other broadcasting students, well, they went to places like Joliet Catholic or St. Xavier to call their game. But I wrote to Don Murphy, the then PR director of the Chicago Blackhawks. And Don not only granted me, but my best friend Mark Schaefer, press passes to come and call the Chicago Blackhawk game. His only request, when you're done, please send me a copy of the tape. Wouldn't you know it, Mark and I would go on to call the first 0-0 tie in Blackhawks history, well, in quite some time. But, true to my word, I sent Don the tape. 2 weeks later, I went to my mailbox at Lewis University, and lo and behold, there was a season's pass to come back and call Blackhawk games whenever I wanted on a Sunday. And believe me, I called plenty. My life journey would take me to Sports Phone Chicago, and my first beat was the Chicago Blackhawks. After 5 years there, I went into competition with Sports Phone and came up with the concept of the official Chicago Blackhawks hotline. Became the original voice of the hotline. Also of the hotlines of the Bears, the Blackhawks, the Cubs, and the White Sox, and the entire National Football League. And then, in 1990, the biggest break came. Massive snowstorm in Chicago. Play-by-play announcer for Hockey Night in Canada gets stranded in Calgary. But the color analyst, Harry Neal, was able to make it to Chicago. Now, I lived in Park Ridge at the time, had a long driveway, so did my neighbor who had a heart condition, so I got up at 4:30 in the morning to make sure my wife could get out of the garage. And then I went on to do my neighbor's yard. And by that time, I had been shoveling snow for 12 hours. Came in and the message light is flashing. I gotta be honest with you, I didn't know if I would even have the strength to answer it, but I did. And fortunately I did, because it was Jacques Primo, producer-director of Hockey Night in Canada. "Chris, we need you at the Chicago Stadium by 5:30 tonight. We have no play-by-play announcer." Now, anyone familiar with Park Ridge to the old Chicago Stadium knows it's about a 40-minute ride in good weather, but here I am going to try to make it in less than an hour in a snowstorm. But when I pulled into the parking lot by gate 3.5, believe it or not, on my stereo was Whitney Houston singing "One Moment in Time." And it really, really struck me, going all the way back to that game with my father 23 years earlier, pointing at the booth and realizing I was going to get my shot. And this was going to be my one moment in time. And to put even more pressure on me, when I came inside the building, Mr. Primo said to me, "Look, Chris, this is like asking an American to call Monday Night Football. So I know it's a lot of pressure. If you're struggling after the first period, we'll have the announcer call the rest of the game from Calgary." Well, I get to the booth and Harry Neal and I hit it off right away. And we just glided through the first period. During the intermission, on the IFB in my headset, I hear from Calgary, "Hello, Jacques, this is Ed Whalen. I'm standing by here in the studios in Calgary, and I'm ready to take over whenever you give me the call." And Jacques Primo says to Ed Whalen, "Are you out of your mind? Have you heard this kid? He's fantastic. Take the rest of the night off." You could have peeled me off the old Chicago Stadium rafters at that time. I really felt like I had arrived. Like this was my one moment in time. And even though the Hawks ended up losing that game 4-1, I'm going to tell you how it had an incredible winning impact really on the rest of my life. I took that one tape and I made hot cut highlights. Doug Wilson took a slap shot. I got Doug Wilson to talk about me and my knowledge of hockey. Darren Pang made a save. Darren Pang talking about how Chris Madsen could walk into any booth, in any arena in North America and call a game hands down. E.J. McGuire talking about my hockey IQ. I edited that all up. I sent one to Anaheim and I sent one to Florida. Now get this. There were over 540 other applicants for the job at Anaheim. The woman who was going through the tapes at the time in Anaheim, born and raised in Wheaton, Illinois. I had asked all of my former color analysts while I was calling games for Sports Channel Chicago at UIC to give me a 1 or 2 line endorsement, and Stan Mikita, the great Stan Mikita, said, and I quote, "Listening to Chris Madsen is like listening to Lloyd Pettit. He's that good." Well, the woman slits the envelope, reads Stan Mikita's thing, takes the tape, walks it on down to Tony Tavares' office, the president of the franchise, and says, if this kid sounds anything like Lloyd Pettit, well, he should be the original voice of the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. She said, Chris, he watched 45 seconds, threw his hands up in the air and said, search is over. Get this kid on the phone right now and get him down here. What's really, really incredible about the story is, as I'm walking through John Wayne Airport in Orange County to come to my interview with the Ducks, it was like a scene right out of a movie. Mr. Madsen, please come to the white courtesy phone. Mr. Madsen, please come to the white courtesy phone. It was my wife, Lori. She said, you're not going to believe this. I've got the Florida Panthers on the line, and they want to offer you their job. So, not one, but 2 offers to call National Hockey League action from 2 clubs on the same day. I accepted the position with the Ducks. I proudly called Mighty Ducks hockey for 9 seasons. I never missed a game. By the way, in my last season, highly regarded color analyst Drew Remenda did a ranking of the top announcers in the National Hockey League. I was rated number 5, only behind Pat Foley at number 4. I'm ready to take the helm in Chicago. I believe it's going to take someone with a cachet like myself to try to replace an icon and bring passion, enthusiasm, pride to the booth. I'm a 7-time Southern California Sports Broadcaster of the Year, 2-time Edward R. Murrow Regional Award winner. In 2020, I took the Edward R. Murrow Award for Large Market Broadcasting Excellence, and I also have 5 seasons as a lead play-by-play announcer for ESPN under my belt. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this to say that I'm ready. With more than 500 National Hockey League games under my belt and Chicago Blackhawk institutional knowledge to the hilt. I want to thank you all for taking the time for hearing me out. My number, 714-785-2623. You can also reach me via email at chris@madsenmedia. I also want to let you know I'm going to be in Chicago, visiting family, from August 18th through the 24th. So I could save you the cost of even picking up the travel ticket if you wish, and I will meet you anywhere, anytime. I'd like to steal a line, if I may, from Marc-Andre Fleury from yesterday. Let's do this. Again, my thanks, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.